might put McCown in there a little bit split time, but I think Grayson's going to be more under the microscope than we think this year.
Okay, good stuff, guys. Really good stuff. All right, Brendan, any last thoughts about the Saints or anything that we haven't touched on you would like to speak about?
I think one thing that Barry touched on a little bit was the running game. And one thing I wanted to bring up was Mark Ingram's production the last two seasons before he's gotten hurt. And if you look at Ingram's numbers from 2014, which I believe he was a Pro Bowl alternate that season, he ran for 900 yards, over 900 yards, 9 touchdowns, and was averaging around 4.3 a carry. And then last season, before he got hurt, ran for 770 and 6 touchdowns. But the big stat for me was he caught 50 passes out of the backfield. So the big thing I'm looking for in the upcoming season, and obviously Spiller is hopefully healthy, Cadet's going to be there, and you have that whole battle in terms of the other running back position. Is Mark Ingram going to be able to give you production out of the backfield as a receiver? You know, ever since we let Pierre Thomas go, it seems like the Saints have lacked the screen game, and the Saints have really lacked a playmaker out of the backfield. So is Mark Ingram that guy who's going to be able to prove to not only the Saints but the league that he's a true 3-down back? Or are the Saints going to go to something more traditional for the Saints where you have a guy who's your first and second down back and third and short back, and then have Spiller or Murphy or Cadet or whoever wins that position battle be your third down back? I think Ingram is a bigger key to the season than a lot of people think.
Good stuff. Good. All right. And let's go back to Will right quick. Will, I want to get your last thoughts here. Any questions or any last thoughts from you, Will?
Well, yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. And it seems to me that we've lost 2 of the 3 positional matchups every game. We lost defense and special teams pretty much every game last year. And if we just, we win the offense and split the special teams, we'll be in a good position with a young, improving defense to compete for a wild card position. Because I don't think we're going to be able to close the gap to Carolina, but I think maybe if it all falls right, we might get in a wild card position.
Okay, good. That's good points. All right, let's close it out with you, Coach. Tell us your last thoughts about the Saints and what some of the things we should focus on. And then I'm coming to you, Professor.
I think this season comes down to whether the defense and whether the kicking game can give the Saints better field position. Doesn't have to be dramatically different, but it's got to cut 1 or 2 plays off the offense, having to maintain the possession of the ball longer. That's an extra 6 to 12 yards on a defensive possession or a kick return. How the new kickoff rule is put into play this year. Can the Saints gain an advantage there, either in the return game or in the coverage game? That's going to be interesting to me as well. And as I'd mentioned earlier, defensively, is Dennis Allen going to be able to use the versatility that his defense has, the better athleticism at the linebacker position, the multiplicity of people in the secondary that he uses? Is he going to be able to tie all of that together to where the defense can start stopping drives, keeping teams out of the end zone, but just as importantly, or even more importantly, being able to gain 1 extra possession through turnovers, give the offense 1 more possession each game, and that's going to be a difference in the season. First game is going to tell us a bunch. The Oakland Raiders are a very good football team this year. So the first game of the regular season is going to tell us a whole lot about how good this team is going to be whether it's going to be a contender or whether it's going to be a pretender.
That is right. And, big arm. The young man has a big arm in Carr, and he's going to come in, and you have Amani Cooper and those guys. So that defense will be tested in the Superdome. All right, Professor, close us out.
Real simple. I'm going to switch gears because Brandon and Barry and Dad have summed it up. I'm going to put it on coaching. Can Coach Payton and his staff coach a young team with a few transitional players that have come in? And how can they gel a team that has now been together with the rookies going into year 2 in terms of improvement? I think I agree with Brendan. On offense, Mark Ingram has got to stay healthy because he has the potential and the talent. Mark Ingram is not healthy. There's going to be a big hole in that offense if he misses 4, 5, 6 games. We need Mark Ingram to at least play 14. And, of course, we need Drew to be healthy. On defense, the key is, can this team gel now with the addition of Laurinaitis, Craig Robertson, and all the linebackers, as well as Farley and Shanker Rankins? How fast can Coach Dennis Allen coach this unit into consistency and a quick point? And as Coach stated, they get their first test with that first game. Training camp is also key because we need to come out of training camp and preseason with minimum injuries. And that is what the good thing is. The Saints are an NFC conference. There are only really 4 solid teams: Carolina, Arizona, Seattle, and Green Bay. The other 12 teams, it's like you throw your hands up in the air. So that bids well for the Saints' chances of getting into the playoffs because the NFC is not very strong with the exception of those 4 teams.
Okay, good. Well, and I'm just going to say it like this. I think it comes down to Loomis making some key decisions, and the biggest key decision is to bring us some stability for the next couple of years. Let's get this deal with Drew signed, sealed, and delivered. Let's make sure that we have somebody who can bring us some stability at the quarterback position, the most important position in the National Football League, as well as for this team. Also, guys, we really going to have to see how these young guys are going to step up, if they're going to have a good opportunity to contribute. And I hope our wide receiver core shock some people in what they're going to be able to bring to the table and go downfield. That's what we were missing as far as a vertical threat. If the young Thomas could be the guy to complement Cooks, we got a steady performer in Willie Snead. And I think, when you look at whoever else, if Coleman, if this is your time, let it be your time right now. Okay, guys, thank you so much, John Hendrix, Barry Hirstius, from the Big Easy Blitz. You will hear these guys next week. You guys will have a show. Is that correct, Barry?
Yes.
Okay.
As long as John's okay with it.
Okay. We will announce what day that will occur. And Professor, you and I, we will be back possibly next week, and as well as you, Coach, to talk a little bit about some things if some major happenings occur in training camp on Saints News Radio. Will, thank you for being with us tonight, and continue to follow all of our shows, and you will we'll just make a note, have you in the queue and ready to sound off, and you had some good valid points. Brendan, man, thank you so much, and make sure you do well in college, young man.
Oh, will do. Looking forward to the rest of the season.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys don't know, you also call some games for your college. Is that correct?
I'm calling 9 collegiate sports for Gardner-Webb University this year.
Wow.
Home and away.
Wow. Look, man, I don't know how you do it and keep up the grades, but you're doing a great job.
Hey, I appreciate you guys.
All right. Okay, Barry, how can the people follow you?
They can look on Twitter at Harahan Houdat. That's Harahan. The little suburb of New Orleans I grew up in as a kid. So Harahan Houdat, or of course BigEasyBeliever.com.
Okay. And John's jumped off. So how can the people follow him?
They can follow him at whodatdish.com, or they can follow him on Twitter at John H. Hendrix. Oh, I'm sorry, John J. Hendrix. I'm sorry.
Okay. Brendan, how can the people follow you?
Just get me on Twitter. It's at BT Boylin. And again, that's at BT BOYLAN.
Okay. Coach, how can the people follow you?
Sportsnola.com. I spend time blogging there Saturday mornings from 10 to 12, the three tailgaters with Ken Trahan and Ed Daniels. We really have a great time. Ed's at training camp right now, so I'm looking forward to getting his report on Saturday. And then on Facebook and Twitter at Rick Gaille, RickGaille. I mean, who'd have thought in this life that I could be on radio, television, and write? God, what a country!
Look, and Coach has been filling in for Ken. I had the pleasure of calling in a couple of times. So thanks, Coach, for allowing me to sound off a little bit.
It was great. It was great. I really appreciated you calling, Kyle. That
was
a great addition to the show.
No problem. And Professor, how can the people follow you?
Hey, you can hit me up at DNice, DNICE 1911, at DNice 1911 on Twitter. Or just look me up under Derek Stevens on Twitter. And you can find me there. You can also find me on Periscope and on Facebook under Derek Stevens. And that's where you'll find me. Good people. Hey, and Dan, this was the first time Kyle and I didn't need a therapy session, but the season
is still early.
It's still
It's still early.
Oh, okay. And
I don't have to pull out my gold or my black card to pay you.
That's right. Better not July, baby. Things are looking
right.
up in
It's July. July's the only time that Dad doesn't get a hostage call from me, a hospital call from me. So right now we can laugh. I don't know what it's going to be like 7-11. I'm scared of that date. I'm like, I didn't know the season was starting on September 11. Oh God, that's not a good sign for the thing.
Oh my goodness, I didn't think about it like that, but that is right. Especially I've been in New York all week. Well, guys, thank you so much. You can follow the Saints News crew on every Wednesday night. You can follow Barry and John every Tuesday night during the season, and you can follow the professor on every Friday night, and you can follow Coach on every Thursday nights or whenever he could be able to do it, because sometimes he has prep games he will need to call. And you can follow us at Saints News, and you can go to www.saintsnews.net, and you can listen to the podcast at www.saintsnewsradio.com. And you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, as well as Instagram at Saints News. This is Kyle T. Mosley. This is the Crescent City Connection. All of us together, the hosts, giving you our best, and we will do the same before the end of the season. Thank you very much for listening. We are out. Take care from the East Bank to the West Bank. Let's make it a best bank and a good year in 2016. Who dat, baby?
Take care, fellas.
Whew.